A man's true strength is rarely seen in the heat of battle, but in the quiet moments of enduring what cannot be easily shared. It's in the pain he swallows, the fear he masters alone, the sacrifices he makes without a word. This is the hidden inheritance passed down through generations of fathers. They build walls not to imprison their sons, but to shield them from the storms they themselves have weathered. This is the unspoken truth of fatherhood, a burden of pain carried in silence. Consider the nature of suffering. It is an inevitable companion to existence. Yet, a father's instinct often bends towards its concealment from his offspring. He understands the world's sharp edges, the sting of betrayal, the gnawing uncertainty of the future. These are not lessons learned through textbooks, but etched into the very fiber of his being through years of unvarnished experience. To pass on this knowledge directly, in its raw form, would be to inflict a wound that might stunt growth, breed cynicism, or crush the nascent spirit of a son. Instead, he offers a different kind of education, one of resilience forged in stillness, of courage born from quiet determination. He demonstrates strength not by detailing his own falls, but by standing tall, a silent testament to survival. His scars are not meant for display, but for fortitude. The lessons are in his actions, in the steady hand that guides, in the unwavering gaze that reassures. This paternal stoicism is a deliberate act, a shield woven from experience and love, designed to allow a son to build his own foundation of strength, unburdened by the full weight of his father's trials. But what is the cost of this silence? Does a son truly learn the depth of a father's sacrifice if it is never articulated? Does he understand the true nature of hardship if it is only glimpsed through a filtered lens? This is the complex duality of paternal protection. A father's silence is a testament to his own endurance, but it can also create a chasm of misunderstanding. The son may perceive his father's stoicism as indifference, his quiet strength as a lack of vulnerability. This misinterpretation can echo through the years, leaving both men in a state of quiet isolation, bound by shared blood but separated by unspoken burdens. True strength, as the Stoics understood, lies not in the absence of pain, but in the rational response to it. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." A father embodies this principle. His arguments are in his deeds. He doesn't preach about the harshness of the world. He navigates it with quiet resolve, teaching his son through his own example. The wisdom he imparts is often embedded within the structures he builds, the routines he establishes, the values he lives by. These are the silent sermons that shape a man's character. The world tells men to be tough, to suppress emotion, to face challenges head-on. A father internalizes these messages, often to an extreme. He becomes the stoic pillar, absorbing the blows meant for his family, ensuring the foundations remain unshaken. This requires an immense internal fortitude. He learns to compartmentalize, to push down his own fears and anxieties, lest they surface and become a burden to those he is sworn to protect. This self-imposed discipline is a profound act of love, a silent vow to carry the load so his son can learn to walk unimpeded. However, this very act of protection can inadvertently create a breeding ground for a son's own unacknowledged pain. If a father's stoicism is perceived as an impenetrable shield, the son may feel there is no room for his own struggles, his own fears. He might internalize the belief that admitting weakness is a failure, not just his own, but a betrayal of his father's example. This can lead to a cycle of suppressed emotion, where pain is not processed but buried, festering beneath the surface of a carefully constructed facade. There's a deep, often unarticulated, fear that drives a father's silence. It's the fear that his son, if exposed too early to the full spectrum of human suffering, might become jaded, broken, or lose the essential spark of optimism that fuels ambition. He remembers his own journey, the mistakes made, the harsh lessons learned, the moments of despair, and he wishes, perhaps foolishly, to spare his son those most agonizing chapters. This paternal desire to engineer a smoother path, while noble in intent, often overlooks the fundamental truth that character is forged in the crucible of adversity. The lessons a father truly needs to impart are not always the dramatic pronouncements of hardship, but the quiet perseverance through mundane difficulties. It is the lesson learned from watching him wake before dawn, day after day, to provide. It is the strength shown when faced with a financial setback, met not with despair, but with renewed effort. It is the dignity maintained in the face of disrespect, choosing grace over retribution. These are the subtle, yet powerful transmissions of resilience. This inherent need to shield is deeply primal. A lion does not expose its cubs to the full ferocity of the hunt until they are ready. A father, in his own way, observes this natural law. He prepares his son, not by recounting tales of terror, but by equipping him with the tools of survival, discipline, integrity, and a quiet understanding of responsibility. He hopes that by the time his son faces these trials, he will possess the inner architecture to withstand them. But the modern world is often a stark contrast to the structured environments of old. The shared experience of community, the extended mentorship of elders, these are often absent. A son may find himself alone, attempting to decipher his father's silent wisdom without context or explanation. He may search for overt guidance, only to find a wall of stoic silence, leaving him to grapple with his own burgeoning pain without a map. The deepest pain a father carries might be the knowledge that he too is fallible, that despite his best efforts he may not always be enough, that the storms he weathers might still break through his defenses and touch his son. This vulnerability, this awareness of his own limitations, is a profound source of quiet anguish, and it is precisely this unspoken struggle that can inadvertently teach a son about the true nature of human endurance, not as an absence of cracks, but as the strength to continue standing despite them. What is the true legacy of a father? It is not merely in the possessions he leaves behind, but in the invisible inheritance of character he bestows. It is the quiet courage, the enduring integrity, the capacity for silent sacrifice. These are the gifts that cannot be bought or sold, but must be cultivated through lived experience, often guided by a father's muted wisdom. The true strength is in the man who can bear his pain, so his son may learn to bear his own, not through direct instruction, but through the quiet example of a life lived with dignity and resolve. This constant vigilance, this unending effort to maintain the facade of unwavering strength, takes a toll. It is a form of self-immolation, burning through his own reserves of emotional energy to keep the flames of his family's security alight. This is the fire a father tends in the dark, unseen, unacknowledged, yet vital for survival. It is the silent labor that underpins the visible world, a foundational strength that asks for no applause. When a son finally understands this unspoken language of paternal sacrifice, something profound shifts. He begins to see the world not just through his own immediate lens of experience, but through the accumulated wisdom and suffering of his father. He recognizes that the stoicism he once mistook for detachment was, in fact, a fierce form of protection. This realization can be a painful one, but it is also liberating. He learns that true manliness is not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. It is the ability to feel deeply yet act with reason, to experience pain yet choose resilience, to carry burdens yet stand tall. This is the silent inheritance, the greatest gift a father can bestow upon his son, the understanding that strength is not the absence of wounds, but the courage to heal and continue the fight, carrying the lessons learned in silence. Therefore, the father who shields his son from pain, though he believes he is protecting him, is in fact teaching him a profound truth through his own example. The truth that enduring hardship with grace, that shouldering responsibility without complaint, that facing the inevitable sorrows of life with quiet fortitude, is the highest form of masculine strength. The son watches, he learns, and when his own time comes, he too will carry the weight, perhaps sharing more of the burden than his father ever did.